Hello and welcome to Rain Francis Art. My name is Rain. Today we're bringing out our watercolor paints and we're going to paint this scene with a mermaid in the sea looking up at the Big Dipper in the sky. So let's begin. This is what you'll need for today's lesson. You're going to need some watercolor paper. I have Strathmore watercolor cold press paper. It's 9 by 12 inches and it's 140 pounds. And if you look at the description below, I've left a link where I have a stencil of my little mermaid here, and I've cut her out. You can download the PDF file and you can print it and cut her out as well. For paints, I'm using mixed watercolor and acrylic. For watercolor, I don't have brand names, I'm so sorry, but I'm basically sticking to a blue palette. I have Prussian blue, I have turquoise, and I have a phthalo blue. I have a greens also that I'm going to be using. I have a hooker green and a phthalo green. I have a bottle of Dollarstore acrylic white paint, so I have a little palette that I'll be using for that. I have some water, some paper towels. For brushes, I have round brushes. I have this large round brush here. I don't know the number on it because it wore off over the years, but I think it's an 8 or a 10. I have a number 4 round, a number 2 round, and a number 4 liner. I have just a little watercolor pencil here that I'll be using to mark off my water line. You can use a regular coloring pencil if you don't have watercolor pencil, or you don't have to use it at all. So why don't we start? I have my mermaid here. She's going to be kind of in the corner here, looking up at the sky. So I want to have my water line just above her. So I'm drawing myself just a little line here. So everything below this line for me is going to be all water, and above here it's going to be the sky. And you can make this mermaid as big or as small as you want. She could be smaller and you can have more sky and less water, or you can make her, you know, down here so that part of her flippers don't show. It's all up to you, whatever you want to do. So the first thing I'm going to do, is drop my pencil. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint in my water, and I want my water to be relatively light colored because I don't want the mermaid to disappear in there because she's going to be a silhouette. So I've loaded up my big brush with that turquoise, and I'm just going to put that across all of my water here. First on the water line. And I have framed my page with masking tape, by the way. That's optional. You can paint directly on your watercolor pad. I'll be using several layers of blue, so I've got my hair dryer ready, just in case I need it to dry off the layers before adding more. I'm just going to add more water to the page, all the way down, and add more of that turquoise. I don't want huge pools of water on my page, but I am making sure to get all the way to the edge of my masking tape, that is, back into the turquoise. And it is a night scene, but when there are a lot of stars out, it reflects off the water, so it's not pitch black in the water sometimes. I don't know if you've ever swam in the water at night, but it's not completely pitch black, at least near the surface of the water. Now I'm going to take that same brush, I haven't cleaned it off yet, and I'm putting a little bit of phthalo blue on the brush. And I'm going to blend that in from the bottom up like this. And I'm going to do that again. And into the water just one more time. I'm going to be careful because I want that water line to stay straight. All right. Now, while that dries, I'm going to work on my sky. My sky is going to be Prussian blue. It's a nice dark blue here. I love Prussian blue. I have done paintings with only Prussian blue, and I've gotten so many shades of blue out of it. Off camera, I'm just dipping right back into that Prussian blue. And like I said, there will probably be several layers because watercolor is transparent. So we want to make sure if we want a dark sky, we have to put several layers on. Right, I'm just going to take out, I'm just wiping, not wiping, I'm cleaning off my brush. And I'm going to take out my hair dryer and just dry that a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to basically do the same thing. I'm going to go over the water area with that turquoise again. My brush is very wet. I'm going into that turquoise again, and I'm going to do the same thing. It already looks pretty nice the way it is, but I'm going to add another layer of the turquoise and then of the, have I completely forgotten the name of the color? Phthalo blue, there we go. All the way down. I love these colors together. The blues are so pretty. And again, just wetting my brush, and I'm going into that phthalo blue, and I'm going to start at the bottom and bring it up a little bit at a time, just so that we have different shades of blue in the water. Phthalo blue is such a nice blue, so vibrant. All right, and I'm going right into the Prussian blue for the sky again. And make that a little darker. I don't know if it's obvious to you, but my my paper is already buckling. Oh, I'm in the wrong color. I went into the phthalo, so let me wipe that off. I don't want any phthalo blue into my sky. I want the Prussian blue. So I'm going to be really careful. I just bumped into my camera. Sorry about that. I'm going to just go across the top here of the ocean, where the sky meets the ocean. And I did it again. I'm so sorry. I often say this is reality TV. You know why? It's because I've got my microphone wire sort of on the side here, right over there, and because this brush is so long, it just keeps hitting the wire. All right, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to let that dry. And I'm wiping off, I said wiping off again, I'm cleaning off my large brush, and I'm going to go into the phthalo green, just a little phthalo green. And I'm going to add hints of that to the water. I think that phthalo green goes so well with blues. And that's all I'm doing. I'm going to dry that up, and then we can add the sky and the mermaid. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add stars to the sky. Now I've got a piece of paper towel, and I'm just going to cover up the bottom of the top of the water, that is, because I'm going to be splashing in some white, and I don't want any of the white to get into the water area. So I'm going to take that palette. I'm doing this on my canvas because it's dry, but please don't do what I do. I just want you to be able to see what I'm doing here. I'm just putting a little bit of white onto my palette. And I have a clean brush here. I'm going to put a little bit of water into there. And I'm mixing that up because I want it to be, I don't want it to be too thick. I want it to be slightly watery, but not too watery, because we want the stars to show. You might have to practice because I can't really tell you what the consistency should be. All right? So now I'm just going to clean off that brush of the excess paint, and I'm wiping it off so that it's dry. And I'm putting my paintbrush into the paint, just like that. And I'm going to take just a pencil or a pen, or you can take another paintbrush, and you're going to hold that like that and watch. You're creating stars in the sky that way. This works really well for snow too, if you're doing snow. Okay, can you see that effect? I'll show you a close-up later if you can't see it very well right now. That's all I'm doing with that. And I'm going to let that dry just a little bit. And I'm thinking of putting the Big Dipper into the sky. I'm just going to move this down because I want you to be able to see all of the sky. There we go. Because, you know, my camera can't pick up everything, or else it'll be too far away and you won't be able to see it very well. So now you can see all the sky up here. It looks funny, but that's just the masking tape. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the Big Dipper, and you can see the little bits of stars that I put, you know, the little bits there. So let's do the Big Dipper. I've got a liner brush. You see how it is now? When I wet it, it becomes so pointy and fine. You can do fine little, almost like you're using an ink pen. I love these liner brushes. And one tip is to get a good quality one. I've had the let's say the student versions of them, and they're not as good. They tend to open up at the end and they don't give you such a fine line. So what I did was I looked up the Big Dipper on the internet, and I'm using that same white acrylic paint, and I'm just going to put the Big Dipper up here. Just bigger circles. And I hope I get this right. Kind of looking at an image online as I do this. Oh, my dog's snoring. There we go. 2 more. I think it's more over here. And then there's one down here. There, we got the Big Dipper in the sky. The reason why I put the Big Dipper is because I do have a blog. It's at rainfrancis.com. The links are all in the description below and in my About section. And every Thursday I have what I call a Thursday art and dinner date with Rain. And on the blog post, I post foodie pictures and recipes, and links to the videos that I do for my other channel, Rain's Kitchen and Garden, where I have a cooking and garden channel. And we also have an art date on the same day. Because I'm an artist and I'm a foodie, I like to post pictures of the food I make and the art that I make. And I sort of last year decided to go ahead and put all that on YouTube as well. So I have YouTube channels. I have 4 YouTube channels. Everything's in my description, but basically every Thursday I create a prompt that you can follow or you don't have to. And the prompt for this week is constellations. So I thought, well, why don't I do a nice little scene with a mermaid under the sea, and she's looking up at a constellation, and that's why I put in the Big Dipper. A long way of saying that, huh? Okay, why don't I move this up a little more? I have to stand up to see. Hold on, I want to make sure you can see everything. And I've got my mermaid, and she's going to be silhouetted down here looking up at the Big Dipper. And I'm going to be painting her with Prussian blue. So I do have my watercolor pencil here. I have a few dark ones. I've got a dark blue here. And I'm going to try to outline her with my watercolor pencil. Let me see if that's working. Okay, that's going to work. You can use whatever method you want. And for her hair, I just kind of cut it off there. But I'm not going to draw a line there because I want to make her hair kind of wavy and wispy under the water. So I'm just going to draw her outline here with the watercolor pencil. And see if I can do this without having to tape it down, because I don't want to tape it down because it might pull off some of my color. I think I can manage it. This arm here is very thin, so be careful. I like to do silhouette art. I really like it a lot. I've done a lot of silhouette art. For those who follow my channel, you may have followed along on some of those. I can't talk while I'm doing this. Okay, let me see if I got everything. Yeah, I got her silhouette there. Don't know if you can see it, but it's there. I can see it, so I'm going to take my Prussian blue, that's the dark blue, and I will start with my liner brush. I'm not going to use too much water because I want it to be a silhouette. I want it to be dark. So I'm going to outline her first with that Prussian blue and then fill it in after. I'm just going to move some stuff out of the way here. All right, now I won't be able to talk too much. I have to really pay attention to what I'm doing here, because once this Prussian blue is on, I don't think I'll be able to get it off. So far, so good. This is where the liner brush comes in really, really handy. All right, I think I've gotten the toughest part done, which was her face, because I wanted to make sure that you could see her nose and her lips. Once in a while I'm dipping into water just to, when the paint starts to get too thin, that it doesn't paint anymore on the surface, then I add more water. For now, I'll just leave her hair as is. And I'll do it, I'll put in some detail after. I just want to get her outline done. Right, doing well. There. Okay, cool. That's the most stressful part for me, is doing that little detail. I'm going to keep my liner brush for now. I need to fill in the small areas with the liner brush, just so that I don't go outside the lines, because I don't want to make her delicate little features, too thick. Like around her nose and her mouth. The rest I can do with a larger brush. Okay, and I'll do her little hand here too. One of my favorite Disney movies is The Little Mermaid. I love it when they do that, the song Under the Sea. I think it's so cool. I'm going to take this opportunity and do her hair with the liner brush. And I'll fill in the rest with the Prussian blue. I just wanted to get some of her hair wisps out there, Okay, so I'm going to go to a larger brush now, my number 4 round. I'm wetting that just a little bit because it was dry. And I'm going to put that into the Prussian blue and just fill in my mermaid. And if she requires a second layer, I will put a second layer on. It depends. We'll have to see when it dries, because it might be a little transparent. I mean, it might look good that way. But what I don't want is the outline that we did with the liner brush to be darker than the entire silhouette, if you follow. This makes me want to be near the ocean. I am near the ocean where I live, but not right on the ocean. I live in Canada, in the Maritimes, in New Brunswick. And the ocean is about an hour away, and I've gone there a bunch of times in the summer and the early fall. Brought my dogs there, and they loved it. There's a lot for them to smell, the ocean. It's so nice to be there. I'm a Pisces sign, and I'm a water sign, so I really do feel most comfortable near water. So living by the ocean is a nice thing. Can't say I like it in the winter though, because it's, oh wow, that ocean wind. Something wicked this way comes, right? It just blows in and That is something cold. I used to live on Prince Edward Island in Canada as well, right on the Atlantic, and I couldn't handle the cold. I really, the wind is what made me move away. Couldn't handle it. It was just too cold in the winter. And the temperatures weren't, extraordinarily cold. I've lived in Quebec as well, where we had minus 45-degree weather, but that I could bear. It's just that wind was awful. Ocean wind. My delicate self couldn't take it. We do get the ocean wind here, but I am more inland, so it's not as cold, so it's a little more tolerable. And she's coming together nicely. A little too much water on my brush there. I need more pigment, less water. There. Now I'm going to let that dry and see if I need to put another layer on her. I think I'm pretty happy with this. I don't think she needs another layer of blue. I think she's looking pretty nice. Now I'm just going to take all of that masking tape off. My painting is dry. I hope that nothing bled through. It does happen once in a while, but it's nice when it doesn't. Water can get through anything. If you think you've got something waterproof, oh, take it from me, it probably won't stay waterproof for very long. I'm just talking about my house having some water damage in the walls, and water really, really can create a lot of damage, but it is also so beautiful and soothing. Must respect it. Well, so far so good on the border. Let's take off the top. Oh, my fingers are stuck. Okay, there we go. Sorry for my hand in front of the painting here. Oh, that turned out really nice. I don't know if you can see the whole thing, but I will show you. There's the top. You see, we see the Big Dipper here and all the starry sky. And then our mermaid here in the bottom. When I take a picture for the introduction, I'm going to make it bigger so that you can see that. Or I can try to make it bigger now, if you don't mind the shaky camera. There we go. There, now you can see the entire painting. I hope that you enjoyed this, my friends. This was a lot of fun to do. It was so relaxing. Please leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I love to read them, and I do reply to them. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It means the world to me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on Rain Francis Art. Bye!